Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm here with Derubael, and I am Sirken, and apparently there's been some hoopla about the recently posted Play Nice policy for the Red 99 server, and we thought we would take some of our time on this wonderful Christmas Eve and devote it to you. So, on that note, I think we'll start off by Derubael just giving a brief summary of said Play Nice policy. He's not going to read it because all of you should be able to read by this point, but he can give you a brief Cliff Notes kind of summary, and then based on that, maybe that will answer a lot of questions just listening to him talk. And if you still have questions afterwards, then please start asking them, and we'll start taking questions as soon as he's done. But hold your questions until then, because I'm going to clear the chat when he's done talking so we can get a fresh slate, and we'll start questions from there. Sound good, Derubael?
Yeah, but we're going to start off by saying Merry Christmas from the Project 1999 staff. This is
Hmm.
probably the only Christmas stream that you're going to get,
Hmm.
so we hope that you enjoy it. Maybe not, but we'll see.
Probably.
Either way, it's Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
If you
Christmas.
are not Christian or do not celebrate Christmas,
Happy
then
Hanukkah.
then happy whatever you celebrate.
Happy
And somebody
Kwanzaa.
tell Heartbrand that we all say Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Festivus.
Yes, actually, I think Hanukkah's already over, but
Hmm.
in any case, so as you all know, we have put up a new Play Nice policy. It was desperately needed on both servers, but especially on the red server, there needed to be a PvP Play Nice policy. As you guys can see, for anyone who's read it, the PvP Play Nice policy works exactly like the regular policy with the following exceptions that were laid out in the new policy. Basically, anytime there's a situation where you can solve a problem with PvP, you do need to solve the problem with PvP. The exceptions to that are you cannot cause intentional experience loss on other players. This is, for example, like training them, that kind of thing. That's not allowed. Bind point and corpse camping. We're not going to call it loot and scoot, but that's basically what it is. Essentially, if you kill somebody, you need to give them the opportunity to loot up and get the fuck out. This is an automatic policy. It's not something that people need to ask for, although I suppose a lot of people will be asking for it regardless, just to clarify what's going on. The only time this does not apply is if both parties agree to forfeit loot and scoot. That means that if you get killed, you can't go bind rush somebody because you don't want to follow loot and scoot. You guys both have to agree that that's what's going to happen. Obviously, if you're doing loot and scoot, like let's say you loot up your corpse and you guys still want a PvP, that's fine. Just talk to each other. Say, hey, we had a good fight. We want to do it again. Let's go another round. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as both parties are agreeing to forfeit loot and scoot, that's cool. We have no problem with that. We're not trying to discourage legitimate, fun PvP. That's something that we're never going to do because it's a PvP server. But what we don't want is people just getting griefed or camped. That kind of stuff not only kills the population on the red server, it just sucks. Nobody has fun with that. We want people to be having fun while they're PvPing. That's why they're here. We don't want people to be afraid of PvPing because they think they're going to get corpse camped for 3 hours. That's all bullshit, and that's going to stop. And I'm not even going to say it. So that's my spiel on the PvP Play Nice policy. It's a good thing. It's going to help. And hopefully we'll actually get some more people playing on the server because of this, because I think a large part of the reason why people haven't been playing is because the environment is just tough. And I get that it's a PvP server, but that doesn't mean that people need to grief each other and just be assholes. You can call it the don't be a dick policy if you want to call it that, because it's basically what it is.
I like it. I think that's a good summary. I understand that a lot of people have been playing a certain way, and some people will say, I'm set in my ways, I'm not going to change, I'll fucking quit, blah, blah, blah. To those people, I hate to say it, but you probably should just quit. Um, Things are going to be changing on the red server, and if you don't like the way things seem to be going, odds are that your choices will be to conform anyway, or get banned, or quit. So I'm perfectly willing to lose a handful of players in the short term to regrow this community um, bigger in the long term. And unfortunately, usually you got to kill some weeds before you can have a real nice garden. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're putting on our gardener shovels and getting our gloves, and we're pulling weeds. And we know full well that some of you people out there are going to absolutely ignore everything that's been posted and said today. And some of you are going to do it just out of sheer spite. Some of you are going to do it because of a momentary lapse of reason. Some of you guys are going to do it because you're oblivious to the forums and you don't read the rules, you don't care. It's just legitimately happened. Um, and all I can say is ignorance is not an excuse to break the rules. I guarantee you, we're going to be looking to make an example out of the first people we can.
Yes,
Don't
absolutely. If you're the first person to do
don't
this,
be these people. Just
don't
don't.
yeah, just don't be that person because yeah, you guys, if anyone's been reading the thread, you guys all know my stance on it, and you're gonna get fucking banned.
I mean, people that know me, they know I played PvP on live. I played on VZTZ. I goofed around on the Red 99 beta, but I knew I was coming on staff, so I didn't put much time into it. I have watched Red 99. I have talked to Zaid, who everyone knows has probably spent more time on from staff, has spent more time on the Red server than anybody else, hands down. Um, and this is what we feel is needed, and there's it's not going away. Like anyone who thinks they're just going to disobey it to show that it's a broken, not workable system, um, you're going to be really sad, because I'm sure it mentioned somewhere in there that we will punish groups of people for the actions of their members. And I mean, if you think you can de-tag somebody and then they can go be a dick and we won't punish their guild, that's not correct. I mean, we know who people are working for. Just because they're tagged or not tagged, or listed as an officer leader, or not actually listed as an officer leader, we know what guild people are with, and we know who runs those guilds. And we will punish guild leaders, we will punish officers, we will punish entire guilds if we absolutely need to do that, because there's really no other option available to us that will express to you guys how important this is. And for the people that don't like it, I say I'm sorry you don't like it, but I feel you're being very short-sighted. I feel you're being very selfish, and I think uh, I think given a chance, given some time, this is going to help the red server. And as a lot of you guys know, eventually a team server is indeed coming. And eventually those servers will either get merged into Red or merged into teams. If you want Red to be a successful thing and you want Red to be the server that wins the merge, Red needs to not be a cesspool of just bad, shitty douchebaggery. And this is the first step on that path. So that's that. I guess if unless Derubael has anything else.
Sirkin, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I was doing that thing that we talked about that I
Mm-hmm.
do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think that your summary is perfect. I'm in complete agreement with it. And yeah, you guys, it's something that needed to happen. I think most of you feel like this is an improvement. I think most of you feel this is a good thing. And the whole staff is in agreement on this. I mean, I posted in that thread. I said, I've had this play nice policy. It's been sitting in the works for a while now, and we just wanted to nail down the specifics before we put it up, because we knew that people were going to try and ask a bunch of questions. We wanted to be able to clarify that. We knew that some people we're going to try and rule lawyer it, and we feel that there's not a whole lot of room for that. It's pretty simple, and a little bit of common sense goes a long way. We're not looking to babysit the red server. None of us want to do that. None of you guys want us to do that. So as long as you are following the rules, as long as you're not screwing around and griefing people, you're probably going to be okay. And what Sirken was saying about making an example, that's absolutely true. Don't be the first person to not do this, because you are going to get made an example of. And
Yeah.
I'm ready for questions if you're
I
ready for
feel like
questions.
we just cleaned up blue server a decent bit, and now
Yes.
it's time for some cleaning on the red server.
Yes. Red needed some love. And keep in mind, you guys, for anybody that thinks that, there's not a whole lot of GM presence on red or whatever, we're going to be watching. And we're going to notice this shit going on, so just don't do it.
I have granted the CSR team the fifth freedom, and so they will use whatever they have in their utility belts to get the job done and protect all the good things that all the legitimate players have on these servers. If that means guild bans, that means guild bans. If that means summoning you to VP and just death looping you over and over and over again until you understand, then that's what it means. Because we don't know what else to do. We want to see the red server do well. We don't want to see it get killed or merged or anything bad happen. And nothing up to this point has worked. So yeah, that's what I got. I am fucking lost in South Koinos right now.
Just use the zone command.
But I'm trying to get somewhere in South Koinos.
Then use the go-to command. Open up a map, find the XY coordinates, and go to.
Hold on. I want to be a cool dude who sits in the Koinos arena for the rest of this nonsense. But there's no way into the Koinos arena. It's all just hacks. Alright, I'm in. Because hacks. So, yeah, on that note, does anyone have anything? Because we would love to answer your questions. I'm going to hang out with Captain Tillin. Here in Koinos. He knows.
What's the
whatever.
XP bonus on red?
Higher than blue.
If I'm not mistaken, the XP bonus on red is the sliding scale bonus, in addition to a 2.0 modifier, so it'll be 200%. I might be mistaken on that, but I think that's what it's set to.
And let's try to keep the questions related to the Play Nice policy and things of that nature. So, I expected also, Derubael, we have to remember there is a 60-second delay on what we say and then them hearing it now. So, but I will say, based on the forums, I did expect many, many more questions.
It's possible that we just did such a good job in our forum questing that there are no more questions.
Did we win Forum Quest?
We might have won Forum Quest. This might be confirmed. We might have to wait a couple minutes to see if any potential Forum Questers bust in and try to challenge our rule. But at this point, it looks like we might have won Forum Quest.
Well, see, I think I'm done with the forum questing for today. That's why I'm doing this. And I figured if anybody had actual questions and weren't just trolling, they'd bring them to the Q&A. Because that's what the Q in Q&A stands for, questions.
I did not know this. Is one kill on a naked at bind legal? Sirken, would you like to do that one?
As long as you didn't cause the original kill, yes.
Yes, that's where we're at. That was actually already posted in the thread. but I know that one of you in particular was sending me a PM about it. We did clarify that it is one kill at a bind point. Hide your bind points if you don't want to get naked killed. Uh,
For real, guys,
it's
that's rule number 2 of any PvP server. What's wrong
hide your
with
bind
you?
points.
Hide your bind points.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you guys, it's no bind point. Don't don't
Don't be
don't
stupid.
don't be stupid. Yeah, I agree.
Alright, well, since apparently these people are, no, I'm not going to say anything mean. I'm just going to say apparently you're right. It looks like we have preemptively answered just about all of these questions. I'm going to post in this thread.
Do you have to be worried about getting banned if you're in a guild with idiots and you're not an idiot? No, as
Yes.
long as you're
No,
not an
you
idiot.
absolutely do. Because if you're in Guild A and Guild A proves to consistently be a problem, Guild A is going to get suspended.
Well, right, but that's not the same as this guy getting banned because somebody else in his guild is getting banned. You see what
It's
I'm
the same
saying?
as him getting suspended because somebody in his guild's getting suspended.
Right. Okay, I guess.
I don't know. The way these players sometimes use the terms ban and suspend, I don't think they all know the difference.
I mean, here's the thing, guys, and Sirkin, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I am. If there's a guild that's consistently breaking these rules, the first step is going to be to go after the officers of that guild, because they're the ones who need to be watching out for everybody. If after that the officers aren't correcting the problem, we'll look at more serious options, which may be disbanding that guild, banning its membership, whatever it takes.
Right. It won't be our first thing. I mean, we don't want to just come in and ban everybody and break up guilds and be the shitty fun police. We aren't going to do that, but I mean, we're not going to keep saying the same thing. If we come in and suspend some players and then they continue to do it, we have to suspend the leadership types. And if the leadership types still can't control their peoples, then we'll explore other options, be it suspending the entire guild, be it raid suspensions, be it disbanding the guild. I mean, we can literally, the world is our oyster in terms of options.
Mike Mandela is asking, is that per person? I'm going to assume you're talking about the bind, killing one person naked at a bind thing.
I
Uh,
think he's talking about my Dazed and Confused reference where they all take turns smacking the same kid's ass.
yes, I
Not
think.
okay.
Yeah, not okay. I mean, it's not like you can kill somebody at their bind point and then bring somebody else in and be like, well, it's a different player who's killing him now. No, it's not going to fly. It's pretty obvious when people are, trying to rule lawyer their way into getting some more naked kills, and that's bullshit, and we're not going to let that happen. I mean, if you want to call it one kill per group or whatever you need to justify it to yourself, then do that. But the bottom line is, no, you can't just rotate people killing somebody at their bind point and then call it legit because it's different people every
It's
time. That's not
legit,
how it
bro.
works. And I can't read your name, but you're asking, are current reprimand actions made public somewhere? No, they are not. That kind of thing is kept private between the person who is being punished and the staff. If they want to make it public, that's fine.
I just want to clarify one thing about that. Very rarely something will happen where anywhere between 100 and 400 accounts will be caught up in some kind of scandal. And when something on that large of a scale happens, we will make it public. Just because it's so heinous that it needs to be A, known that we won't stand for it, and B, that it is taken care of. And so that's why you saw the thing about the 106 accounts the other day on the front page. That's why if some of you who have been with us longer might remember the 356 MQ accounts. I know Effie has done large things when he caught a ton of armed tiers. Once in a while, for very large things, we will do a public thing. And also, it depends on the type of crime. we're not going to publicly ostracize you for raid interference or for bind camping somebody a few times. But things like macro quests, when you have almost 400 people using macro quests and show EQ, that's a problem. When you have people duping large amounts of things and
We weren't going to go here.
infecting over 100 accounts, that's a problem. And those are taken much more seriously than things like, oh, he bind camped me, or oh, he trained me. And so that's the difference, is that between why we publicize those, but not everything.
Yeah. We weren't going to get into that too much, but that is a good note to make as a clarification on why that was made public, which is normally not the policy. But yes, for particularly heinous crimes, we feel like that sort of thing needs to be pointed out. That being said, where did I read that? Dun dun dun. Howdy der. Will we be punished if we are only interested in PvP against a certain guild due to rule number 7? Rule number 7 of the PNP is you may not target others for harassment, or really it's just you may not harass others. No, because the PvP play nice policy says that anything that can be solved through PvP should be solved through PvP. So if you hate somebody, you should absolutely go seek out PvP with them and have fun killing them. The next question is from the guy whose name I can't read because the text is bright green. I'm worried that guild blah 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 will cause problems. You'll talk to officers. Officers will cover it up some. Then guild members will have no idea what's coming. It is your guild officer's responsibility to communicate messages that the GMs tell them. If your guild's leadership is not doing that, you should maybe go find another guild, because they absolutely should be telling you about things that we're telling them that need to be told to the rest of the guild.
I mean, that's essentially one of the actual purposes that officers exist, is to relay messages from the guild leader or from the staff to the members of said guild. If you can't trust your officers, maybe you're in the wrong guild.
Yes, that's
And
absolutely our stance.
that person's name was Papa Chris.
I apologize, Papa Chris. I'm kind of laying back in my chair and I can't read your name.
Oh, and yes, as Zaid mentions, the ignore feature works quite well. If people are sending you private tells, put them on ignore. OOC affects everybody, and people are not allowed to use public channels for, hate mongering or harassment or real life attacks or that kind of stuff. So, I mean, ignore is a thing, but it's not a ticket to be a complete douchebag either.
Yeah, absolutely. The ignore function is not an excuse to harass the shit out of somebody or to go into public channels and slander them, that kind of thing. That is something that we absolutely frown upon and will take action for if it becomes excessive. We've never had a policy against talking shit. We think that that's okay as long as everybody is aware of what's going on.
As long as you don't do it about the staff.
As long as you don't do it about the staff, right? And like I said, the ignore function, that's not an excuse to go into global OOC and start calling somebody a fucking asshole and just go on them. There's a line, is what we're saying. And if you cross that line, you may get a tell from a CSR. And you're going to know when you cross that line. Like when you're just maliciously going after somebody, you know what you're doing. So just stop. Just cut that crap out.
Also, I don't care about things that happened before today. We're not going to go back and retroactively punish people for things that were just made a rule today. That's ridiculous. So don't come to me and be like, well, according to what you said today, this person broke this rule 2 weeks ago. I don't want to hear that. What else? And just, I know everybody gets caught up in the heat of the moment in PvP. I know everyone gets excited. I know everybody wants to just rape everybody's faces right off their heads. I know this. And you have to remember, no one's saying you can't do any of those things. But when I hear from a player, well, if they don't like what I'm doing, they can just slash Q out. That is the absolute worst mindset that any player could have, because you're essentially saying, well, I could minus the population if they don't like it. And that should be the last thing you want to do, is make people log off, even if it's just for a couple hours. Because one of the bigger things that we hear about Red, and I'm sure you guys hear about Red, is, oh, there's only like 12 people on that server, and if there was more people on that server, I would surely log in. And if all of those people would just shut up and log in, you'd have another 100 people on the server overnight. And forcing people to log out because you want to corpse camp them or bind camp them because you're bored and you think it's fucking cute, you're hurting the server. Like, you're straight legitimately hurting the server. And we need that to end, because people don't realize that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. The days of griefing people just because they're person XYZ who did XYZ to you 10 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that's gonna stop. And griefing new players especially is something that we are going to be on the watch for. And it's just not going to happen anymore, you guys. It's the Red 99 population could be so much more than what it is. I know that there's a lot of people out there who love PvP, who just straight up don't play on this server because they don't want to get involved in all the bullshit.
I wouldn't
And
play on this server.
no, I mean absolutely not. I've played on Red 99. I tried to stay out of all the shit that happened on this server. But it's something that you can't help but take notice of, especially when global OOC is filled with everybody's drama. And it's just, we're not going to let it happen anymore. We want the population to thrive. We think this is going to help that happen. And I've already heard from a bunch of people, hey, I'm actually going to go try Red 99 now. And I think that's great.
So, unless anybody, I'm gonna just give a little bit, but unless anybody has any other questions, I think we might just be getting to the point where we wrap this up. Mm, can we get clarification on the LNS policy? The leader of the main guild is
Can
saying
I take that one?
that we will not let anyone loot and scoot in a zone or any adjacent zone of a raid mob if it's coming up anytime soon. Oh yeah, you can. That's right over the plate.
Then that guild, or that guild leader, whoever's perpetrating that stance, is going to get fucking banned.
How many times have you said that in different mediums
It's
today?
it's probably been said about 10 times at least.
Nazi Wall, I already answered you. We're not going to retroactively punish people. If you have shit of it happening after the rules went up, send us proof. But I'm not going to go back in time. You have multiple staff members that are going to be spending more time on Red. We also plan on getting more staff members specifically for Red. Um, and I mean, the next step is setting up security cameras all around the Red server. So there's going to be more eyes, and there's going to be, hopefully there's not going to be more punishments, but there's going to be more staff eyes, there's going to be more of a staff presence. And if you guys roll the dice on getting caught, you're going to lose more often than you're going to win. Um, don't make bad decisions, because we're not going to give mercy. We're not going to be unbanning accounts. When we say you're going to be banned, we mean you're going to be banned, not suspended, not reviewed in 6 months, not any. We mean fucking banned, and that's it. Good game. Thanks for playing. Hope you enjoyed your time on the server. So be smart. Do it for the server. Um, Let me see. Is this a thing? Before I read it. Alright. What about level 60 characters intentionally training or killing every mob in low level zones such as Unrest? Example, some epic level 60 warrior goes into Unrest and is just killing everything for the sake of killing it. I'm only bringing this up because that's one of those situations that actually can't be settled by PvP
Yes.
because of the level range.
And that will go ahead and fall under the general play nice policy rules as zone disruption.
Yeah, at that point it would just be who was there first, because it can't be settled with PvP. So if the little guy's there and the level 60 comes up and he just starts killing everything, that's going to be considered kill stealing.
Yeah, and also, keep in mind that some level 60 going into a zone and killing all the mobs, that can't be solved with PvP. That falls under zone disruption. That's something that's going to stop on blue and red. There are too many times when I've gone into like a crush bone situation, and this is mostly for the blue players because I know this doesn't happen very often on red. But where I go into Crush Bone, there's some level 60. He's killing every mob in the zone except the mobs in like this one little camp off to the side. And he goes, "Well, they're not killing any of the other mobs, so I just thought I'd clear the whole zone." That's not going to work anymore. There's specifically a clause in there related to people claiming most of a zone and killing all the mobs, and that's going to stop. I don't know if you muted your mic, Sirken, or if you just don't have anything to say.
No, no, I was muted. I was gonna say to Seawall, I'm sure he has heard lots of things that will happen and blah blah blah. I will say that the entire staff is taking a much more serious approach to a lot of things that were lower on the list before. There's a certain guild on Blue that just you can read about it on the front page. I'm not even going to talk about it. But they didn't think that they would get punished either. And I guarantee you punishments will come down on red. We are looking for somebody to break these rules. I'm just waiting so that I can absolutely motherfuck them as absolutely hard as I can to make the biggest, brightest, shiniest example so that nobody will want to do it again. Um, and if you don't think it's going to be a thing, and if you don't think the server has integrity, feel free to go play somewhere else. I mean, it's really just that simple. You can either wait and see what happens, or you can pack up and leave.
Yeah, no, I'm completely in agreement with that. That's all 100% true. We want to foster, fun, a fun PvP environment, and right now the environment is not fun. The only people who are having fun are the people who get off on just fucking people, and that's not okay.
It's stagnant. I mean,
It
that's what
is.
it is. It's unable to grow, and we need to change that. We need to get some sunlight in there. We need to get some fresh water in there, and we need to let it grow. And unfortunately, we're probably going to need to get rid of some people because I'm willing to bet there's some people who will not alter their play styles to suit these new rules. And unfortunately, this server doesn't have room for people like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If there's people who are just going to ignore this completely, we will absolutely remove them from the server. Because those people, they don't belong here, straight up. If they're going to be toxic and they're going to try and kill the player base and keep the little guy down and off the server, then they can just get out. And that's our policy going forward because we're tired of it. We're tired of people saying they don't want to play on Red 99 because they're getting griefed. We're tired of people saying that this person's being an asshole just to be an asshole and I can't play, I can't advance. None of that is okay. And it's going to stop. And I've played on some pretty hardcore PvP games. I'm not going to name specifics, and I come from an environment that's
Don't
pretty
lie,
much.
you come from Hello Kitty.
I've come from an environment that's pretty much like fucking grief everybody because they fucking deserve to be griefed. If they don't deserve to be griefed, they're probably going to do something to deserve to be griefed, so grief them anyway. But I absolutely want to follow. I want to foster an environment that's more conducive to keeping players on board and letting everybody have fun, and that's what we're doing here.
I like it. I still think you're from Hello Kitty, but I like it.
Yes, okay. Moving on from Hello Kitty.
Don't talk
Hello,
shit
Hello
about
Kitty,
Hello
the
Kitty.
MMO, which
That
was
is a
a
serious game.
hardcore environment. There was much kitty slaying on Hello Kitty MMO. Um, somebody had said on the forums, can you give specific outline or can you give a specific, clear way that this situation will work or that situation will work? Because we want some transparency in how things work on the server. Honestly, the reason why we don't do that is because situations are fluid and changing. And I've said this a bunch of times. I know I've said it to, in particular, raid leaders on Blue. I know I haven't had a chance to talk to people on Red about this. But we try to not get super specific down to the letter in our rules or guidelines because situations are fluid and changing. And just because one situation is similar to another situation doesn't mean they're the same, and it doesn't mean you're going to get the same ruling. Obviously, we have a little bit of leeway to make our best judgment call as situations come. And if you don't agree with that decision, you can always, petition it in the petition forum if you think we've been unfair or we made the wrong call. That's not something we're ever going to stop from happening. But we need to have a little bit of wiggle room to make our own calls so that we can do what's good for the server. If we set really specific guidelines and we say, if you do this, this is going to happen in this situation every single time. There's no leeway for situations that are maybe a little bit different. We want to be able to take a little bit of liberty and common sense with our calls instead of just making one blanket thing that covers everything, because it's just not possible. It's not possible for us to sit here and go, this is how we're going to handle it in this situation, this is how we're going to handle it in this situation, because we'd have a list that's 500 pages long of all the different ways that things can go and what the punishments are going to be and blah, blah, blah. This is a simple rule. It's easy to follow, and there's not a whole lot of room for lawyering. There's not a whole lot of room for abuse. It's pretty clearly laid out. Do it, don't do it. It's up to you. If you don't do it, you're probably going to get fucking banned.
Yeah, notice we're not using words like warning or suspension. Like, we're using words like banned. Like, there's not going to be second chances. There's not going to be like, okay, next time. Like that, all those ships have sailed. This is the last warning for the server. That's why I'm broadcasting things. That's why we're posting on the forums. That's why I'm streaming. That's why we're doing this Q&A. Um, I mean, this is everybody's last warning, and I know the first person we're gonna hit with this is gonna be like, I had no idea that was a thing, and we're just gonna have to give them the sorry, that's it, and they're gonna get banned, and we don't want to ban people. Like, we're not here for that. No one's here except for maybe Ambrotus. Nobody else is here to ban people. Um, but when you force our hands, we have to do what we have to do for the server. And this server needs some weeding. So some people gotta go, I guess, is really it. I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling some people are gonna go. Not Seawall. You're just pretty much saying the same shit over and over again, and I've already addressed it. You can either wait and see, or you can go play somewhere else. Don't want to hear about your I don't know. I don't care about your wall of text. It's really what I'm trying to say.
So elaborating on what Sirkin was just saying, yeah, we absolutely don't want to have to ban people, but we absolutely will to make sure that this gets followed. It's going to take a little bit of tough love to make sure that everybody can have fun and understand what the rules are. And that's absolutely what we're willing to do. If people need to get removed from the server because they're a problem, we're going to remove them from the server because they're a problem. And that's the final word.
Seawall, I'm just
But
if you don't like it, play somewhere else. That's all I can tell you. I don't even
but
care.
I promise you guys we don't. Sorry for interrupting your
No,
thing.
that's it. That's all I had to say.
I promise you guys we don't want to. We don't like banning people. We don't like taking people off the server. we would much prefer that everybody just does what they're supposed to do. I have banned enough people in the last week. I don't want to be banning anymore, but I absolutely will.
I banned 4 people yesterday.
My ban list is fucking huge right now. I
Well, the
mean,
Seahawks.
I have a ridiculous ban count. Yeah, yes, there was the killing spree on Sunday night when the Seahawks lost, where I just went hunting 2 boxers and caught like 6 of them, maybe 7. And then that plus the huge list of bans from this dupe debacle. I did all those bans. That list was gigantic. And then the bans that came afterwards when people were being dumb. My ban list is enormous. And I don't want to ban anybody else, so just follow the fucking rules and I won't have to. I'm asking you guys nicely. Follow the fucking rules.
It sounds so
Sounds
nice.
nice, doesn't it?
Yes. So,
Or you're gonna get fucking banned.
and I mean, if you guys have questions, like legitimate, don't fucking send rule lawyered questions so you can prepare a defense in the future. We know when you're doing that. But if you have legitimate questions, because, something's just not clear to you, or maybe English isn't your first language, and so it's just for whatever reason you would like something clarified, you can come to us privately and ask us a question, and we will deal with it. We want to make sure everyone's informed. We want to make sure everyone's on the same page. We want it to be equal for everybody involved. But we absolutely don't want to hear like, oh, I thought this meant this, or oh, I was unaware that's how this was implied, or don't want to hear about anything that could have been solved with you just sending a question to get something clarified, because it's not going to get you out of being bad. So, I mean, just what would Jesus do? Or if you're Jewish, what would Nilbog do? In all situations, that's what you should do. Would you do what you're doing if Nilbog was standing right there next to you? And if you wouldn't do what you're doing with Nilbog there, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I feel that's the best way. And just tell yourself it's for the server. If you guys want to see a 400, 500 person server, you need to not be douchebags until you get 400 or 500 people. And that's pretty much it. Is he still going?
No, he's done. He's done.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. So, I feel we might have addressed everything. I don't know if you have anything to add or not.
I think I'm pretty solid. I think I've said my spiel. I
Hmm.
think everybody knows how I feel. I think I've always had my feelings on red made pretty clear. Um, and it doesn't matter who's doing it. I don't care if you're Nylum or Red Dawn or Azrael or Force. I don't even know if Force is still around, but it doesn't matter who you are. This is going to get applied evenly to everybody. Because we just want it to stop. We want the griefing to stop. We want the server to be fun. We want people who are new to the server to know that they're not going to get fucking griefed. We're just done with all of that crap. And we're cleaning up the box. Call it what you want to call it, but that's basically what it is.
Giving the box an enema.
The box is getting an enema. It's not a good kind of enema if those exist. It's definitely a bad enema. Wait, no, I reversed that statement. It is a good kind of enema because those absolutely do exist. And we're going to clean the rectum that is Red 99 of all the scum. And I've taken this analogy too far, so I'm going to be quiet now.
Right? I was waiting for you getting a bacterial disease.
It's possible. Red server might have gotten skates.
The red server's fixable. It just needs people that give a shit to fix it. And it needs staff presence. Like, we also, like, Seawall, I know a lot of the reason people get away with shit is because A, staff isn't hardly ever around unless you're Zaid, and B, not everyone runs fraps. And I assure you that Red is going to have more staff presence moving forward, and that we're bringing on more people specifically for the Red server. So, like I said, wait and see or GTFO. Those are your options. It looks like that's just about all the legitimate questions. And I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I really think I'm done now. So, I mean, just don't be douchebags, and if you have questions, ask us. And, I mean, a lot of you guys know how to get a hold of us in way too many different ways. So, if you need to use that, use it. But don't be a douchebag. Don't take matters into your own hands. If someone does something to you, that does not give you carte blanche to do just absolutely anything to them. Two
Yes,
wrongs don't make a right, and you will both be banned if you both break rules.
that's a great point.
Like,
That's
that's.
actually, I'm really
I
glad we
can't believe
touched on
we
that.
haven't even mentioned that up to this point.
Yeah, no, that definitely needs to be said. If
Never take
somebody
rules
is
in your own
breaking
hand.
rules and screwing with you, it does not give you the option or the right to break rules and screw with them back. I understand that it's frustrating. I understand that it can make you mad, but just don't do it because then you might end up getting banned, and we don't want that to happen. Especially if you're just a legit player who's trying to grab his corpse or whatever it may be. Don't break rules because somebody else broke rules. That's never going to be okay. That's something we're always going to discourage, and yeah, and I know it sounds like it's BS because oh well they were griefing me first and da da da, but we don't care. Just don't do it. It's that simple. Doesn't need to be more complicated than that. Doesn't need to be as complicated as people are making it on the forums. It's a pretty simple thing.
It really is. It really is. So, on that note, though, I think we're just about done.
Yeah, we kept it short today, which is good. I like it.
I like it too. Um, Hagathar just said he'd make a good GM.
Yeah, it's funny.
That real oil trading.
That real oil trading.
But we can't joke about real oil trading.
No, that's now against the server
Yes,
rules.
so
We can't
that's an
joke about
example of something what not to do.
no more real bloomin' onions. No more. No more real Steam trades. All of that is done.
Oh, god damn it.
No more going into Sky and asking for Chinese food during Sky raids. That's all out the window.
Oh, alright. Well, on that note, I have to type Derubael message. Doot doot.
On which server?
On Skype.
On Skype. Okay, that actually makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm not. Just do me a favor. Just mute your mic until I tell you. After we're done, just mute your mic until I tell you to unmute it.
Perfect.
That's all I need you to do.
Well, go ahead and give a closing spiel then.
Yeah, you know what? Thanks for watching. I hope we addressed all your questions. If you have more questions, post them or send them or do something. We'll try to answer them. If you send a private message, we'll keep it discreet. Don't be a douchebag.
Don't be a douchebag. Don't be a dick. That's fucking 2014's tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Red 99. Don't be a dick.
What would Nilbog do?
What would Nilbog do? He'd probably chop off all your hands.
Oh, they want me to death touch this guy, so that's gonna happen. Boom. But it's gonna take a minute for them to see it. It'll probably take a minute for them to hear me say it too. I don't know exactly how it all
That's
works.
okay. That's okay.
Um,
That being said, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to the Q&A. Thanks for following the new Play Nice policy. And thanks for advocating for it. I did put a lot of time into it. The staff put a lot of time into it. We're glad that you guys like it. That being said, Sirkin, go ahead and give your closing spiel.
yeah, if you guys don't follow, click the follow button. It'll let you know when I'm streaming things. I stream events and Q&As and stupid discussions. So there's that. Everything else is actually about to come in a video that was made by Jersar on the forums. So if you guys want any video stuff done, you can shoot him a private message and ask him about it. I'm sure he'd be happy to make some shit for you too. Yeah, he's
Excellent.
saving me a lot of trouble. So Darabelle,
Excellent.
go ahead and mute
That
your mic so I can.
that closing spiel is great that
It
you
is
did.
good.
So
When you're
go ahead
done,
and play us out, Sirkin.
say goodbye and then mute yourself, and I'll play it out.
I just said goodbye. Play us out, Sirkin.
All right, buddy, it's coming. Again, guys, thanks for watching.